And staying with developments around the MK party, the party has appointed former Western Cape Judge John Hlophe as the party's chief whip in the National Assembly. In a statement, the party says Hlophe's distinguished career and unwavering Pan-African outlook have established him as a formidable force against systemic racism, particularly in the Western Cape. Now, there's been mixed reaction to this decision by the party. Let's chat now to legal analyst Mpumelelo Zikalala and Professor Bheki Mngomezulu for Center for the Advancement of Non-Racialism and Democracy Director. Let me thank you both for your time. I'm going to start with you, Prof. Was this a good move?
Yes, indeed, my sister. I think it was a good move, particularly because this party is new and then we need all hands on deck, including those with a legal mind, the likes of Okuzeni, who have an ability to interpret the Constitution correctly, because there have been concerns that our Constitution in the main is being interpreted through the lens of politics as opposed to abiding by the law. Then if you look at this former judge, Judge Hlophe, he has done a sterling job for many years. Before then, he was ousted in his office by 305 to 25 members of the legislature, who then summarily removed him from office in a case that started way back in 2008. So then you will understand that the reason why he was removed from office was particularly because of a misunderstanding or misinterpretation of a Zulu phrase saying "sekusezandleni zenu." I don't know why the judges failed to understand that from its Zulu context as opposed to taking it literally. That is what then brought Hlophe to where he is, and therefore the MK party is giving him a lifeline, particularly because he lost his job because he was seen to be close to the current leader of the MK party, that is former President Jacob Zuma.
All right. Now, Prof, given the fact that he was impeached by these very same National Assembly, how do you see this one play out?
If our politicians know politics and if they are mature enough, this should not be an issue. For the reasons that Kuzen has just outlined, when they decided to remove him from his position as a judge, then obviously they gave him, it's like a player who is no longer contracted to any soccer team. That player becomes a free agent. This is exactly what is happening with Judge Hlophe. So anyone who would raise issues with his appointment as a chief whip of the MK party will have to first reason properly before making such an accusation. Otherwise, from where I'm standing and I think from where Kuzen is standing, that will be unwarranted and unnecessary.
So before I go back to Mr. Zikalala, let me stay with that, Prof, because when you were talking about this particular matter, that they may have to bring in some sufficient reasonings and all of that, there are some who are saying that this is not a good look for the country. I was still saying, Prof, before we took the Secretary General of the UN, that some are saying that it's not a good look, particularly when you look at how he left his office and the years that, he has faced some serious allegations against him, including some of his conduct, particularly in that court of the Western Cape. So some are saying that bringing him back in this particular matter in Parliament, such a critical institution, for them, it doesn't set the right tone. What do you say to that?
My first response will be those people are hypocrites. Because if they were fair and honest, they would have made the same statement when we re-elected President Cyril Ramaphosa to lead the country, when he still has a cloud, the Phala cloud over his head. If you are really serious about cleaning government and then cleaning our institutions, we have to do that consistently. You recall that the manner in which Judge Hlophe was removed was similar to what happened to Advocate Busiswe Mkhwebane. I remember comparing the two and making a statement that if you are in the lower court, you find me guilty, I appeal to the next court, then I'm cleared. Does the judge who found me guilty get fired? The answer is definitely no. Then why would you then fire Busiswe Mkhwebane on the grounds that some of her findings have been dismissed by the court? So it's the same narrative that should prevail here. So in other words, my sister, I'm saying that those who will be raising issues will first have to find out who they are, what their agendas are, then we'll be in a better position to make an informed conclusion.
You agree, Mr. Segalala?
I'll look at it from a legal perspective of saying that the Constitution allows and says each political party that has been chosen or selected to be part of the Parliament has the right to choose any individual to be a member of Parliament. Judge Hlophe or Mr. Hlophe does qualify, and he can be there to be able to execute his duties. There are two ways of looking at it. Look at it from the side of the MK party that says, we know that Beckley that we are fighting with one individual that are eligible in the subject matters which are going to be spoken of. So we are going to choose an individual that has the qualification and experience. Or the other side to say that, look at the integrity of Parliament. And then you can come back and say, the part of that integrity is allowing someone like Judge Hlophe to be part of the members of Parliament so that that level of scrutiny can then be obtained. And I would seem to agree with Lagada to a certain extent to say it was a pretty rushed process in terms of his impeachment, even though there were outside legal battles that were still being done by him to say that please do not move forward with this. I have a problem with the manner and the method that has been used in finding me guilty, and also the rules which are applicable to the JSC, especially on a matter that has taken for so long or for so many years up until it was done and dusted. Can you please look at it? And simply Parliament came back and said, we know we're not going to wait for you. We are going to continue with the impeachment processes. So what he is doing right now and what the MK party is doing is exercising their rights. It is absolutely permissible by the Constitution, and they have every right to say, this is the member that you are going to take to Parliament so that they can be able to play an oversight role.